Wolf, get away from those sheep.
Bollocks.
You're listening to the Wolf and the Shepherd podcast, broadcasting from Fort Worth in the great state of Texas. Now, get ready for this episode of the Wolf and the Shepherd.
Welcome to this episode of The Wolf and the Shepherd. It's time for another one of our In Other News segments, and joining us once again from On an Island with Pat Beaman, we have Pat Beaman. Pat, glad you could join us.
Guys, it's always good to be here.
So, what's new in the crazy news world?
What is new? There is nothing new under the heavens. All of this stuff has been done before.
So is that the end of the podcast?
That is,
done?
yeah. The reason I say that is because some of these articles I actually look for extra news about them on other websites, and I always find like about a dozen similar stories. Any story I've ever read out on here, there's like dozens of similar stories historically. So it seems like the pattern of stupidity has not been broken, despite any previous learning opportunities people could have had from previous news, things like not trying to cook a squirrel with a blowtorch because two people burnt down an apartment complex, and the apartment complex tried to sue them for $2 million.
$2 million for
trying to complex.
They were trying to cook a squirrel with a blowtorch. Now, I'm not an accountant, but I don't think they probably had $2 million.
No.
If you're bothering to cook a squirrel, no.
Yeah, but there were at least half a dozen similar stories where people had burnt down apartment complexes trying to cook on the balcony. So nobody learns.
And nobody on a wooden balcony too, probably.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, of course.
A lot of the old apartment complexes, especially here in DFW, they're wooden structures that have those wooden balconies.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Are you telling me that you found other stories about fat monkeys as well?
Oh, there's a ton of them. I think it's a big issue, diabetes in the ape and
that
monkey
is.
world. Yeah. It's because people keep feeding them candy, and I think eventually it's got into their genetics, and now they're susceptible. As soon as they see a Snickers bar, they're kind of like...
Yeah, but what color ribbon do you wear to raise awareness for monkey diabetes?
I don't know if they're colorblind. I don't know if it matters.
We need to do some research on that.
Yeah, we need to do some research on that.
Need to get some ribbons
completely
ordered.
Forget about it.
Yeah.
So the first article, which should please you, Shepherd, because we're always in favour of robot violence when it comes to robots against humans. We've read a few sad stories in the past where robots have come unstuck or been maltreated by humans, but it always gives us a bit of a giggle.
I think that the podcast has come out in favor of the robots almost every time.
Yeah, we like robots, and
Yeah, but I hope you're not starting us off with a sad story.
No.
Okay, good.
Brilliant.
Yeah, because I thought we had to talk about that, but we can't kick it off with a sad story.
Well, there is absolutely nothing, even from the headline, you can make sad about this.
Okay.
South Korean woman's hair eaten by robot vacuum cleaner as she slept.
Yeah, I'm going to go on the side of the robot.
Yeah.
It's like he's trying to do his job.
Well, I mean, the fact that as she slept means it must have continued. Now, it's one thing if she was asleep and the robot started eating her hair and she woke up, but apparently the robot ate her hair while she slept. So.
Well, okay, so if you look at it this way, that means it's a very gentle robot.
Well, I was thinking of looking up what model it is, because the last one I heard was like a cement mixer, so I'm thinking this one's nice and quiet, so I might buy this one myself, plus I've got no hair for it to eat, so I'm pretty...
That's true.
Yeah, all-round win-win,
Yeah,
I think.
2-for-1 deal there.
So the woman was sleeping on the floor of her home. Why? We don't know.
Right.
When the robotic cleaner ingested her hair, leaving her in agony. Obviously not enough agony while she was sleeping to wake up, but at the end of it.
Yeah, and I guess I'd have to know, why was she sleeping on the floor?
Well,
was she
we're
really...
We're going to find that out in a moment.
Oh,
you have to remember, she's South Korean, and they've got some funny habits. Not as much as the North Koreans, but...
Yeah, but I'm just wondering, was she sleeping on the floor because she said, hey, I'm tired, I'm going to take me a little nap? Or had she gotten drunk and passed out on the floor, and the robot ate her hair, she spun the story around to say, well, I was just taking a nap.
Right. Well, we're going to find out in a moment, but first of all, I wanted to do the usual useless thing for our listeners and pass you and Pat the photo of her being rescued. Now, I don't know if this is a reenactment, actually. It seems a bit convenient that somebody had a camera to show these two people pulling her hair out of this robot vacuum. I think it's a reenactment.
I don't know. That looks pretty legitimate.
Yeah.
Don't you
Could
think?
have come from the Ring doorbell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If
that's a
they
good
turned
point.
it inwards, yeah, maybe. So let's find out more about this woman. Goes, when a South Korean woman invested in a robot vacuum cleaner, the idea was to leave a trustworthy gadget to do its work while she took a break from household chores, like sleeping and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, the 52-year-old resident of Changwon City ended up being the victim of what many believe is a peek into a dystopian future in which benign robots turn against their human masters. They've run with this one.
Oh, they have.
Run with this. The woman, whose name is being withheld, it's just, well, you don't want any
Well, and
comeback from other members of the robot community.
you should also point out that we didn't see her face in the picture either.
No,
she was
she's
face
laying
down.
face down.
Yeah,
Yeah. I wonder if that's how she was sleeping at the time. Face
probably.
down, yeah. Robot thought, well,
Yeah, there's
stick
some.
her out of her misery.
Hey, there's something laying on the carpet. I'm
Look,
trying to clean it up.
If you've got a pet cat, it's going to eat you once you die.
Right.
Dogs will wait till they're almost at starvation point because they're so loyal. Whereas cats, within 24 hours, will start like trying to eat your eyes and chew your fingers and stuff. They won't even wait till their food bowl runs out. They're just like, well,
Yeah.
I've got
Something different.
I've got some dry food out back, but
That's kind of fresh.
some wet food here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, not been named, was taking a nap on the floor at home when the vacuum cleaner locked onto her hair and sucked it up, apparently mistaking it for dust. Now, I can understand you mistaking my hair for dust because there's not much of it, but
How do we know that the robot mistaked her hair for dust?
well, they probably asked her afterwards.
But why would the robot tell the truth?
That's true.
Can robots lie?
Well, we're going to find out.
Okay.
The agony of her having her hair entangled in the bowels of the contraption roused the woman from her slumber. They're using a lot of flowery language.
Yeah, that's very poetic.
Unable to free herself, which I thought she could at least stand up, having it dangling from her head or something,
Right.
depending on how heavy the vacuum is. She called the fire department with a desperate rescue plea and was separated from the robot's clutches by paramedics. She escaped serious injury, although it is not known whether she has retained the autonomous cleaner's services.
Even though we wouldn't be able to understand it, it would be kind of interesting to hear that 911 call.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean,
you're right,
I'm
we
going
wouldn't
to
be able
guess
say it.
that it's probably in Korean, so we wouldn't be
Right.
able to understand what they're saying. But I do have some Koreans on speed dial in my phone, and they
Right.
could translate it for us.
Yeah.
That might
Get
be
them to
fun.
reenact it as well.
Oh, that's a
Work
good
it out.
point.
We
Yeah.
could write a script out, say, read
Yeah.
this in Korean.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But
well,
sound
I mean,
terrified and in pain.
yeah, I guess a lot of it's going to depend on if the 911 operator person was male or female, of who we would get to play the role of that person.
Right. So, Korean Bizwire, which is apparently where this article's from, it sounds very official. doesn't
That's
it?
kind of like their AP news deal.
Pointed out, however, that people from cultures in which it's commonplace to sit or nap on the floor, such as Japan and South Korea, may be more vulnerable to vacuum robot rage.
So what we're looking at there is a new warning label for people in Asia who buy robot vacuums. Because that's where
Yeah,
warning
seen it
labels
before.
come from,
Well,
right?
robots are opportunists, let's not forget it.
No, that's true.
Yeah. So we go.
I don't really think that it's the warning label. What we have here is a problem with old people in technology.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
52. You don't need to be adapting to new technology at
Right.
that age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably has trouble opening their smartphone up. You know, it probably calling.
VCR is still blinking 12 o'clock.
That's
Yeah.
true. And probably has a VCR.
Probably does. Good
yeah,
point.
actually still has a VCR in the living room.
Probably has a grandchild that has to come over on a daily basis and reset the Netflix account.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was thinking it could have been worse, and I can't go into too much detail about this, but I don't think too many countries in Asia have AC like we do.
Oh,
And so if
Sure.
she'd been sleeping on the floor kind of naked and trying to let the air flow around a little bit, that vacuum could have gone for some other areas which have been a bit more painful than the head.
although would have made a much interesting story.
Yeah, I don't know if we'd have got a photo out of it, but
No,
it would have been.
no.
Although that would have been good, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Somebody
yeah.
like had their like foot on her back and like 2 other people were pulling on the vacuum, trying to pull it away from the center of her body. That would have been better.
It's too bad we don't
Good
have
animated GIF.
Well, but it's too bad we don't have a video of it, right?
Yeah,
and we just have this still photo.
Yeah,
of
maybe
it.
I should look. There's got to be a video somewhere.
There's got to be, and it almost looks like that picture you showed us was taken from a video, right? It's like just a still frame of it, because those firefighters came in and said, "Oh no, nobody at the station's going to believe this. I'm going to go ahead and film it
within like a minute."
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, moving on to the next one. It's also about cleanliness.
Oh well, wait. Before we move on, though, Pat, do you have a robot vacuum cleaner?
I do not have a robot vacuum cleaner.
I do not either, and I know the Wolf had one at one time, but it broke or something.
Cat killed it.
Yeah, so you still don't have one, though. You never replaced it.
No, I was going to get one for my girlfriend, and actually it was supposed to be her Christmas gift for last year, and I ordered it on Amazon, and it had something like 44,000 4.5 star average reviews, and it's always out of stock. So I thought, well, I'm not going to cancel it because I'm going to be on the waiting list, right? So when they get more in stock, I'm still on the waiting list.
6 months later, you're still on the waiting list.
But it's such a bargain. I need to wait.
Well,
because now there's 80,000 4.5 star reviews on average for it. So it's supposed to be the cheapest. If you're listening, Cindy, I'm sorry. But it's supposed to be the cheapest, best quality. That's what I should have said.
But that's right up our alley, though. Especially Pat, as he does his research on his show, and of course, Pat, I don't want to let out any secrets of your show. I know we're sworn to secrecy on that, but Pat is really good at finding those things out too. His team, finds those for him. I'm just curious. Do you have a reason, Pat, why you don't have a robot vacuum cleaner? Is it because you just don't want to buy one, or is it because you have Karen?
No, it's generally just cheapness.
Okay.
That, and I have heard, we do have a dog at home.
Right.
And I've heard that vacuum cleaners have occasionally pushed dog crap around all day.
Yeah.
And that could be actually worse.
Draw you some modern art.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't have one, because I don't like the deal that you have to put around the furniture or whatever, the little border thing to keep it from going under the couches. No,
it depends, because you can get them now with the more expensive ones have sensors, and they completely map out the room, and they have image identification, so they know what a chair looks like. They know what a sofa looks like. So, and also if they see an animal that has a picture of a sleeping cat, it'll avoid it. Because it will actually recognize it in its memory. Now, the cheap ones, like the one, I was trying to buy my girlfriend, I don't think that's got that. That one was just super powerful.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's got a nuclear reactor in it, because it goes about 6 weeks without having to recharge.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, let us know if you actually get the vacuum.
Yeah. Maybe next Christmas.
Yeah, maybe next Christmas.
Maybe by next Christmas.
And by next, I don't mean this year. I mean next year's Christmas.
Oh, yeah. Christmas 2022?
Yeah.
That's the goal?
That's the goal.
All right.
Yeah. Otherwise, she's just getting a dustpan and brush. So.
Yeah.
Right. So this man wasted 2 years washing up. He was shocked to find out he had a dishwasher hidden behind what he thought was a fake cupboard in his flat.
How do you not know what's in your own house?
Well, he thought it was just a panel in his kitchen. And he thought it was just like a cupboard. Sometimes underneath sinks and stuff, it's just a fake kind of cupboard. There's nothing actually there.
Right.
But yeah, there was something here. I guess he must have banged into it and thought, that kind of sounds hollow. Took off the cover, and there was a dishwasher there. So
I'm still kind of lost, because I'm guessing they had this decorative panel up, right, to kind of hide the fact that there's a dishwasher there. Yeah. So there had to be hinges or something on this, right?
What might help with this story is this was the dude in London. Now, in England, I didn't know anybody with a dishwasher.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, that's
so is he a renter?
Yeah. It was in his flat, which is like an apartment.
Sure. I'm not an idiot. Yeah. Thanks for pointing that out, Wolf.
Well, you said it was in his...
Well, he could have owned the flat, or he could have been renting the flat.
Do people own flats in England?
That I don't know. Maybe. I thought it was all type of rental things, like apartments.
Yeah, but it's like condos over here, and the high rises. You can actually buy them
Yeah.
and you kind of own the floor.
Yeah, that's the
or
point.
whatever.
Flats in England, they're not laid out like apartments here. They do tend to be in high rises where like somebody has come in, like the council, and they've bought out like a high rise which was used for business, and they turn it into accommodation, cheap accommodation, and then you can get government subsidies. So a lot of the time in these flats, it's not the prime segment of society who kind of inhabits them.
So what we would call Section 8 housing.
Yeah, but probably this is like Section 6.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. So he took to Twitter to reveal what he thought was a fake cupboard is actually a dishwasher. Joked he'd wasted days of his life getting hands dirty and washing up. And he was left dumbfounded.
My biggest complaint about dishwashers is I feel like I have to wash my dishes before I put them in the dishwasher, because it's really just sanitizing them. It's not really washing them. Like, how have we had dishwashers for so long that you can't just put all the dishes in there with the food stuck to it and all of that, and then this robot dishwasher, I mean, kind of technically it's kind of like a robot, right? Because it's doing the job of something else. How is it that we haven't come up with a dishwasher that will actually wash the dishes?
Hasn't really evolved either, is it? Because like you put a spoon in with peanut butter, it still does such same crappy job it did 30 years ago.
Yeah, and if you think about, I remember when my parents got a dishwasher, so their house didn't have one in it because it was an older house, and I remember tearing out a cabinet and everything to install the dishwasher, and of course you had to do it by the sink because you had to have access to the water line and everything. But that dishwasher versus the brand new one that I have in my house right now that was replaced 6 months ago, other than like the controls on the front, it's pretty much set up the exact same way. It's got the 2 drawers, it's got the little spinny propeller things that shoot the water out, and that's it. It's the same thing.
I think it makes people lazy as well, because like my girlfriend, she puts in a pair of scissors into the dishwasher when she cuts stuff. I'm like, just rinse it under the tap. It'll take you less time than putting the scissors in and out of the dishwasher.
Why are you putting your scissors in the dishwasher?
Well, because some foods, she cuts with scissors, just like I do. I mean, like if I cut like certain vegetables like broccoli and I cut off the stalk, I'll actually use scissors to kind of like cut it so it's less stalk and more floral.
Pat, do you use scissors to cut food?
Green onion? Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm the only one sitting here that does not use scissors to cut food.
Yeah, and if I make like bacon bits, I'll use scissors to cut the bacon into little kind of like squares.
And do you have special food scissors for this?
No, just regular ones.
We actually have special food scissors.
So you can buy special food scissors.
Yeah.
I think we made them special. I think when we bought them, they were office scissors, and we've just used them specifically for food.
Oh, okay. So those become the food scissors. Absolutely. They go in the utensil drawer.
Right next to the knife, absolutely.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That's interesting. I've never used scissors to cut food.
But your wife doesn't either. Well, your wife doesn't cook, so why would she use scissors to cut food?
Well, you know what? We do have a pair of scissors in the kitchen to cut open some of the frozen dinners that she fixes the kids. Yeah. So I guess we do use food scissors. We just don't actually cut the food. We just cut the boxes open.
Yeah, pretty much 90% of packaging which says tear here, you have to use scissors for.
How do you open your bacon?
I just peel it apart. Usually it has a little flap on the corner that
all packets are like that. Like some of them, they're
mine are all sealed.
Sealed ones.
You got to use the scissors for that.
Yeah, either that or you got to shank it.
No, I mean, even the ones that I have that are vacuum sealed, they usually have that deal where the corner kind of separates a little bit and you just grab a hold of it and go like that and go zip, and then it's open.
Too tactile for me anyway. Yeah. I couldn't pull that apart.
Right.
Gotcha.
So let's move on to the next story. A cannibal Spanish waiter. He's probably in the right job if he's cannibal, really, and a waiter.
And in Spain
himself.
Yeah.
He's been convicted of chopping his mother into 1,000 pieces before eating her bit by bit over 2 weeks.
2 weeks sounds pretty quickly to eat a person.
Well, it depends on the size. I mean, he could have had like this little old lady mother, right?
Sure, I'm assuming she's a small lady.
He was 28. Well, he still is 28, apparently. So
I mean, go young. But say she's 85 pounds, 80 pounds.
Okay.
He's putting down 40 pounds worth of food a week?
That's a good point. Well, of course, you get the bones and everything. Wow. You're not eating the bones.
Yeah, he used that for broth, though. He probably made some broth with the bones.
Well, yeah, and maybe he had a dog. It's like, oh, here's a treat. Yeah. I got 200 and how many ever treats for you.
Mind you, Spanish women do start getting a bit chunky once they hit 40.
Oh, don't tell me that.
Yeah. Yeah, but your wife is more Hispanic from the South American continent as such.
Well,
whereas I'm talking about proper Spanish people from Spain.
I got you.
Not just people who speak Spanish.
Oh, well, she doesn't speak Spanish, though.
Exactly.
Is that why she's not?
No reasons to worry.
All right, there we go.
No, but they can get a bit chunky for no good reason. So she, instead of 85 pounds, she might have been like 200 pounds. She might have been a decent meal.
I wonder if he had friends over, though.
Wow.
I mean, was it just him? I mean, what if he's having parties?
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know, like celebrating the riding of the bulls or the chasing after the bulls, whatever they do in Spain. Don't they do that like every weekend? Let the bulls chase them?
Daily, I think.
Daily? Yeah, same thing.
So late on Wednesday, a jury found him guilty of strangling and eating his mother. Jurors dismissed Gomez's claims he was experiencing a psychotic episode. Oh, he was jobless, a jobless waiter. I don't know how that makes him a waiter if he's jobless, but
right.
He's cutting her up into tiny pieces.
I mean, would it be better if he was a jobless neuroscientist or something like that? I mean, if you're unemployed, don't you just say I'm a jobless rocket scientist?
Right, yeah.
I mean, I can't find a job in rocket scientry or whatever it's called, so that's what I'll just call myself.
Yeah, I'm an unemployed
maybe that's why
gigolo.
Maybe that's why people have such a hard time finding good jobs. Because let's say you lose your job, right? You're a waiter, you lose your job, then you just say, "Well, I'm an unemployed accountant." Yeah. And then you can find a job as an accountant. I mean, that's the qualification, right?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So after his arrest, Alberto Sanchez Gomez, just in case you had any doubt to the authenticity of his Spanishness, was branded the cannibal killer of Ventus, the area of Madrid where he lived with his mother, Maria Soledad Gomez. Oh, his mother was 68. He dismembered her body before eating part of her remains over the next fortnight. The jurors, 6 women and 3 men, dismissed his psychotic episode excuse. They demanded a 15-year and 5-month prison sentence for the drug user. So he was that's come out. He's using drugs. If he was convicted of homicide and desecration of a human corpse. So they found parts of his tragic mother's remains in Tupperware containers in their fridge and bones in drawers around the house.
So he had, so he had an organization problem then.
Well, her head, hands, and heart were found on a bed, so he didn't nibble on those ones.
Head, hands, and heart.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, still an organization problem. Yeah. If those are on the bed, and then he's, getting Tupperware containers and putting all this, the dude needs to see that. What's that Japanese woman that says, "Oh, put this in your hands. Does this give you joy? Then you keep it." And she needed to help him.
What woman is that? What Japanese woman is that?
What's her name? She's famous. She's the organization expert.
Really? And you put something in her hands?
And she says, like, hey, and you grab this can and you say, "Does this give you joy?" And if you answer no, you're supposed to throw it away. And if it gives you joy, you're supposed to keep it. That's her deal.
I can imagine
it's like super famous. I can't think of her name.
Problems. It's like, grab your wife. Does she give you joy? No.
Oh, that's a good point. I better not use that tactic.
All right, get rid of it. All right. Yeah. So, Pat, exactly what circumstance would you have to reach in your life outside of regular starvation, apocalypse type scenario? Would you consider it an option to eat a member of your family? Is there a time when you thought,
I have to say,
can't be bothered to run to Kroger, but my uncle was coming over later, so...
Right now, I can't imagine that circumstance.
Yeah, I don't think it's one of those things. I don't think... It would have to be pretty extreme before I could result.
Yeah, it's like those soccer players or whatever that crashed in the South America. And they started eating each other. They made that movie about it too.
Yeah, I remember that movie. Didn't watch it because I thought it'd be crap, but
it kind of was a crap movie.
It's only so far you can go with it. Planes crash, start eating each other, and then they get rescued. I mean, how are you going to drag that out?
I mean, it honestly should have been like a 15-minute movie. Right. It really should. Yeah. But I think what do you remember that movie?
I remember. I don't know the name, but I do remember the movie.
I don't remember the name of the movie, but at least we all know. I mean, that's our fantastic reporting skills.
We don't have it illegally downloaded on our hard drive, so it couldn't have been that good.
That's true.
Yeah. So this next one, I haven't actually, I'll be honest with you, I have not read this article. It's just the title drew me in. It said, owner of celebrity Turkish rooster that crows until he faints is forced to cancel his world tour due to the pandemic.
That is a lot there. That is a lot to take in. No, I think you're going to have to repeat that title. So read that title again. That was a lot.
Owner of celebrity Turkish rooster. So we know there's a Turkish rooster who's a celebrity that crows until he faints.
Now, is that the reason that he's famous? Yeah. Or is that an additional talent?
Just something they discovered later on.
Right.
Oh, okay.
You know, because first of all, maybe he was doing a little bit of tap dance. And is there anything else he can do? Yeah, watch this.
Yeah. Well, and I think there's a lot of celebrities that become celebrities and then they turn around later and we find out that they can actually do something other than be famous.
Yeah, embarrassingly, I was going to do a rooster noise then, but I momentarily forgot what sound a rooster makes.
Cock-a-doodle-doo.
Yeah, I know. I momentarily forgot that. Yeah. So, too late to come back to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the joke's gone. So, Okan Gokbudak, I'm sure that's pronounced perfectly, 28.
That's a complicated name for a rooster.
No, this is his owner.
Oh.
He's 28. He owns a celebrity rooster called Batia, who crows until he faints. Once again, for the benefit of our listening audience, is a photo of the rooster. Look at him. He's got fame dripping off him.
Absolutely.
Got like about 2.8 million Instagram followers.
The rooster has 2.8 Instagram followers.
No, I made that up.
Oh.
So he's had to cancel a planned world tour, including a trip to the UK. I'm sure it'd have gone down well there.
Yeah.
Devoid of entertainment in the United Kingdom. Unfortunately, I cannot travel due to the pandemic. Gokbudak, who is the owner, I think. Yeah, that is him. Yeah, planned a world tour with the. I mean, how do you get booking?
Right.
Who's buying a ticket for this?
Well, there's certain points in my life where I can imagine I might have bought a ticket to go and see it, but you're not exactly filling out like American Airlines Center with the rooster that crows until he faints. And the thing is, how long does he have to crow before he faints? Yeah, if it's too quick, it's a bit of a waste, isn't it? You're going to need some support acts.
Wouldn't it be much easier to just create a YouTube video of the rooster crowing until it faints and just collect revenue from YouTube?
You'd think so,
yeah. I mean, now you don't have to worry with the travel. I mean, I don't know how roosters do in hotels.
A little harder to sell merchandise, though, because remember, it's going to be selling T-shirts, car decals.
Right. Yeah, no, that is a good
Probably
point.
some life-sized stuff, taxidermical.
Yeah, that's a...
You know?
Well, you could always sell that stuff online, though.
Yeah.
But it's just like seeing a band, right?
Yeah.
You're more apt to buy that T-shirt when you see them live versus just going to their website and buying the T-shirt because you like the band.
Yeah. Now, they've used a bit of anthropomorphic license here. This is the celebrity rooster is so determined to crow longer than anyone else, I'm assuming it means other roosters, not just anybody, period, that he runs out of breath and faints.
Who is tracking the amount of crowing roosters are doing? Are we funding this through science somehow?
It would not be a shock. We've got to be funding it somehow.
Well, was that hidden in like the pandemic support bill or something?
Probably,
somewhere it was
infrastructure.
Line 964, and we're funding that study.
Oh, he's actually been shown in viral footage crowing so much that he falls over. He said the most important part of the trip was the invitation to join Jamie Theakston and Amanda Holden on a TV show called Heart Breakfast. The producers of the show contacted me at the end of April. They said that they had talked about my rooster on their show and thought it was great. They wanted to include us as a guest on the show and invited us to England. He added that people had been in touch from all over the world with offers of thousands of pounds to buy the rooster after it became a global celebrity. In one clip, Golbudak, which again is the owner, I'm keep getting confused with him and the rooster because they've both got silly Turkish names, is heard bursting into laughter as he films the bird running out of puff during a hearty crow and dropping to the ground. He said, however, that it was not an isolated incident and the bird collapses every time it crows.
Wouldn't it be better if the guy had a turkey in Turkey versus a rooster in Turkey?
Turkey in Turkey. Turkey in Turkey would be good. Oi, Pat, falling asleep, mate. Are you concentrating on the rooster?
He's waiting on the rooster to crow to wake him up.
I know he's got a busy schedule. He can't be falling asleep.
I know.
I'm still trying to figure out why the rooster is famous. I refuse to believe it's from crowing. I don't think so.
Come on.
I think that he's got like a
there's got to be more
vaudeville show.
Right.
He's singing, taps and sings like Sammy Davis Jr.
Right. It's got to be more to it,
Yeah.
Like he must play the xylophone or something.
Yeah, it's like that.
Ooh, that would be good.
Yeah, Peck's the like something.
Yeah,
something simple though, like
remember that frog in Looney Tunes that could sing, but only the one dude could see him sing?
No.
Oh.
What's that?
Do you sing Mammy?
No, he's saying that. Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling. Hello, my ragtime gal. Yeah.
No, I do not remember that.
Oh, yeah. It was like this singing frog.
And only one person could see him.
Yeah. Well, only one person could see him sing. So this dude decides, hey, I'm going to make a lot of money touring around with this frog. And then the frog wouldn't perform, and then everybody would leave. And when it was just him and the frog would sing.
Wow, that sounds like a logistical nightmare, having to refund all the money.
Yeah, but see, this was way back in the day before YouTube. So if he would have just been able to film it, then he'd have made all kinds of money. But poor cartoon guy lost all his money.
Wow. So, son, 22, tasered his mom on Mother's Day because he was upset he couldn't find his phone.
Was mom hiding it?
Pretty straightforward. I don't know. And she did deserve a tasering if she was hiding it. Andrew Peterson, age 22, from Wisconsin, was charged with battery, disorderly conduct, bail jumping, and possession of an electronic weapon. Now, why are you getting in trouble for possessing an electronic weapon? Maybe that's how it is in Wisconsin. Because here they give you out tasers with like your Happy Meal.
Right, and that was what I was initially, or at the very end, I guess, that really threw a curveball at me because you can buy them all over the place here in Texas. Yeah, exactly, in the gas station. And like you said, at Chick-fil-A, I think they do that on like Fridays, right?
I think, in fact, unless you beat them up or rape them afterwards, I'm not even sure it's a crime to taser somebody in Texas.
I don't think so. I think that's just expected. But what were the other charges? Because once you said battery, that possession deal, it threw me. So
battery. Now, I don't know if that counts in with the electrocuting a bit, as if that counts as battery.
Gotcha.
You know, that might be the battery bit, unless he slapped her around a bit. Disorderly conduct, I mean, where that comes in, I don't know. Bail jumping, all right. Kind of an associated charge they've tagged on there.
Yeah. So I guess maybe as we dig more into this story, we're going to figure out, hopefully, the bail jumping part. But my big question, and maybe this is later on in the story, is he's 22. Like, why is it his mom's fault that he can't find his phone?
Well, it sounds like she's actually the victim of a long line of abuse. Her son and her son's girlfriend, actually. Peterson is accused of tasering his 43-year-old mother in the neck on Mother's Day because he was upset that he could not find his phone. Peterson, his girlfriend, and their young child had been living with his mother for several months. The girlfriend, 20-year-old Colleen Parker, allegedly admitted to punching Peterson's mother in the face 3 days prior.
Well, what'd she do to deserve being punched in the face?
I don't know. Maybe she lost a TV or something.
Oh.
All right. So here we go. According to a press release from Richland County Sheriff's Office, a 43-year-old woman called 911 shortly before 2:45 p.m. on Sunday. So at least he got partly through the day. To report that her adult son had just tasered her in the neck during a domestic dispute.
Wow.
Under questioning, Peterson allegedly admitted to deploying the stun gun against his parent and his girlfriend allegedly confessed to punching the woman in the face.
Wow.
Court records indicate that Peterson has prior criminal history, which includes convictions for DUI, possession of drug paraphernalia, and trespassing. Oh.
That is... I just still can't get over the fact that there are so many people out there that just want to blame somebody else for what's their own fault.
Right.
You know, he can't find his phone, and so he's like, oh, it's your fault, you know.
That's got to be embarrassing if he finds it later in somewhere really obvious where he didn't check properly, like it's in his own pocket.
Yeah, like his back pocket.
He
and like, oh, there it is.
Did he tase himself at that point?
Well, I don't know, because he doesn't sound like the kind of guy who's going to come up to his mum and say, hey, Mum, I'm sorry for blaming you, and I'm sorry for my girlfriend punching you in the face a few days ago. I don't know what that was about. I try not to get involved.
But I guess we don't have pictures of these people.
No, actually, they did not release. We do have a picture. We do have a picture of the dude and his girlfriend.
Yeah, is that him and the girlfriend?
Yeah.
Okay.
Viewers.
Yeah, she's not good looking.
Not good looking.
No.
Pat, she good looking? I know you're generous.
I gotta go no.
No. So
I try to give the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Different cultures, different tastes, but no.
Yeah. So the viewers say no, listeners take our word for it. She's not attractive.
But you know what? If Pat's even saying no, you know,
right. She's gonna be a bit rough.
That's a 1.5 at best.
Right. So here's a funny
But maybe that's why the guy has DUI conviction, because he's got to be drunk to even just look at her.
Right. And doing drugs and trespassing, although I don't know how that ties in.
Yeah, the trespassing one, I'm going to scratch my head on, but the doing drugs makes sense too.
Yeah.
Because you can't drink all the time, so it's like, okay, I've drank enough now, let me just switch to drugs so I can tolerate this girlfriend.
Right. So, we want a happy story, right?
Yeah,
so
let's end on a happy story.
Indian COVID victim, 76, wakes up on a funeral pyre moments before she is due to be cremated because family thought she was dead.
That is good news.
That is good news.
How is that good news? They just
she
about
woke up
burned her.
before.
Yeah.
Well, okay, yeah, but I mean,
20 minutes later,
she didn't have a leg on fire or something.
Right.
I mean, you just got to let it go at that point.
No, I guess that's true that she didn't suffer any burns. But Pat, when you were over in India and you were doing the COVID shots and everything over there, did you see any of these funeral pyre things going on?
Unfortunately, we officiated at several of the mass fires, the mass pyres there, and again. It's nice that we got to see that. I was worrying in the story what kind of Indians they were, if they were, casino or call center.
Yeah.
But clearly it's a call center Indian.
Yeah, no, these are our friend Indians.
Yeah, the friend Indians.
These are our friends.
Yeah.
The Indians.
Because now you don't even say Native American anymore. No. Now it's indigenous people, I think.
Yeah. And then we get them confused with the people formerly known as Eskimos.
Yeah, but I thought the Eskimos were happy
Inuit
with the word
or something. Well, the Eskimos themselves are. It's just some white people who live in Washington and California are offended by the name Eskimo.
I think they're Indians in cold weather.
Yeah.
Right. I'm pretty sure that's the way that works.
Yeah. Because then the tan fades and then they go all really white and pasty-faced again.
Yeah. But I could see, the indigenous people or Native American or whatever up there with all the snow. It's like, when you go skiing or whatever, I've heard, because I've never been snow skiing, but I heard you can get a real bad sunburn because the sun is reflecting off the white snow. So it, that kind of makes sense.
It does make sense. Yeah.
That is really good news. The family's already gathered. We're fixing to, light the fire, and Grandma sits up.
Right. And by the way, did they see it as a miracle? I mean, if you stop and think about that, right? That could be
absolutely.
like a resurrection thing. It's like, she was dead, now she's alive. I mean, are people following her as some kind of god now?
I'll tell you what, though, depending how much of a bitch she is, I might just let her burn, because you're never going to hear the end of this at family get-togethers, are you? Remember that time when you tried to burn me?
Yeah, that's true.
Didn't check I was dead? You'd be like...
Thanksgiving over there would suck.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I'm going to try and pronounce this correctly.
Good luck with that.
Well, only because the first one you can go really wrong with this. Shakuntala Gaikwad tested positive for COVID last week and was taken to hospital. She was turned away as wards were full and she fell unconscious on the way home. Her family believed she was dead and prepared a funeral pyre. She narrowly avoided being burned alive. Her family mistakenly thought she was dead and prepared her for cremation. I'm trying to find out how long she was actually passed out for, because surely it takes a bit of a time, unless you've got personal funeral pyres just built in your backyard all the time, just out of convenience.
Yeah, but just like, when Pat went over there, I mean, the pandemic is so bad over in India, they're probably kind of prepping all this stuff, right? They're just picturing people dropping dead, and they got to get that cleaned up and move on to the next one.
Oh.
So they probably had that ready to go.
With some extra information, which clarifies it none. As they waited for an ambulance, she became unconscious, and the family mistakenly thought she had died, and so prepared her for cremation. So I'm guessing they didn't get any kind of medical second opinion or...
Oh, maybe the doctors were busy.
Yeah, maybe. Moments before it was lit, Shakuntala woke up on her own funeral pyre in a panic and started crying.
Well, let's be honest, wouldn't you? I mean, you wake up and you're like, yeah, they're about to burn me. Like, I'm pretty sure I'd wake up in a panic.
Yeah, I wouldn't start crying though. That's a bit babyish, isn't it?
Well, I wouldn't start crying.
On fire.
Well, I wouldn't start crying, but I would wake up in a panic.
Yeah. Well, local police confirmed the story. They bought the story. It might have just been people trying to burn their really annoying relative. She was later transported back to hospital to be cared for. Last year, India's health ministry released guidelines for the cremation of people who have died of COVID.
Step one, make sure they're dead.
Make sure they're dead.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they're trying to, bump up the COVID figures, but...
Right, and none of the three of us were not doctors,
right.
But we could have helped out with step one. We could have wrote that for them and said, look, step one, make sure they're dead.
Well, if in doubt, give a little bit of a slap, because if they're dead, no harm, no foul.
Right.
If they're alive, you've just, confirmed you're about to make a terrible error.
Yeah. What was that deal like way back when where they tied bells around people's hands because people were getting buried alive? And so they would be buried in these cemeteries, and there were bells in the cemetery, and the cemetery keeper or whatever would be there all night listening for those bells to make sure somebody didn't wake up in the coffin. There was a name for that.
Was that some variant of sleeping sickness or something?
I don't remember what it was, but apparently it was common because they were like exhuming some graves, and there were scratch marks and everything on the coffins because people
was vampires, dude.
No, it wasn't vampires. This was real. No, this was absolutely real. Well, some of them might have been vampires, but this was real.
Right. One of the best things about this article is that they have taken notice to put in a special warning given out by the Indian government that reassures its citizens that 5G does not cause COVID. They've made an official statement here. It says it's reassured its citizens that 5G has not caused the second wave of coronavirus following a spate of conspiracy theories circulating on social media. Officials pointed out that there are no 5G networks in India.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
So I mean, even if it did, I don't know what they're worrying about.
Yeah, but how far behind? I mean, Pat, when you were over in India, did you have any problems getting cell phone service?
When we got into the country, we did.
Yeah.
In the city, no problem.
City, no problem, but you still didn't have 5G.
Apparently not. I wasn't aware of it.
Yeah. I don't even know if the 5G works here because I'm supposed to have 5G on my phone, but I haven't seen any increase in download speeds on my phone. So I think the 5G is really a conspiracy, and they're just changing the letter on your phone and saying,
just changing the number from 3G to LTE to 5G, and then no difference whatsoever.
Right, charge you more for it, but nothing's really changed.
Because that's one thing. Because I buy the cheapest possible phone plan, right? It's like $20 a month, okay, and it's unlimited texting, calling, all that crap, but I only get like 2 gigs of high-speed data, and then it goes back to 3G. But I can't notice the difference between that LTE speed and even the 2G speed, because it will still download and still do stuff exactly the same speed. So I don't know, now everybody's switched to these faster services, that the old services, which used to be super slow, hardly anybody's ever using it anymore, and so now it's super quick again.
Oh, Yeah, could be congestion then, is what you're saying? Like, you moved enough people to the newer service, and now that the old service doesn't have as many users, they can use it faster.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah. Well, with all that said, thanks for tuning into this episode of The Wolf and the Shepherd. We appreciate your support, and we will catch you on the next one.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Wolf and the Shepherd podcast. If you like what you just heard, we hope you'll pass along our web address, thewolfandtheshepherd.com, to your friends and colleagues. And please leave us a positive review on iTunes when you get a chance. Check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for additional content. Join us next time for another episode of The Wolf and the Shepherd.